So 6 mana, 6/6, mythic rare, trample haste. If you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice as many. Wait, put twice that many of each of those counters on that permanent or player instead. If an opponent would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, they put half that many of each of those counters on that permanent or player, rounded down.
Streamer reading.
Seems trash. That affects planeswalkers as well. I don't know, man. Normally 6/6 trample haste is kind of good against planeswalker anyway, right? Without that text. That is very awkwardly positioned right behind my face. Alright, 4 mana, 2/3 menace. When Lathril Blade of the Elves deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 grief 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens. Tap 10 untapped elves you control. Each opponent loses 10 life and you gain 10 life. Yikes. Ranar, the Ever-Watchful. 2 white, blue, legendary creature, spirit warrior. Flying Vigilance, 2/3. The first card you foretell each turn costs 0 to foretell. Whenever you exile one or more cards from your hand, and or permanents from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Halvar, God of Battle. 4 mana, 4/4, 2 double white, legendary creature, God. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. At the beginning of combat, it's kind of awkward, right? It's a free equip, I guess, but yeah. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. Not free? How is it not free? At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment attached to a creature you control to target creature you control. I mean, it's like a free equip if it's already equipped. Alright chat, I'll move my camera, how's that? Are you gonna stop fucking crying now? Can't see anything? Why are you saying you can't see anything? Dumbass. Alright, the alternative side of the card is Sword of the Realms, 1 and a white for a legendary artifact equipment. A equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has vigilance. Whenever a equipped creature dies, return it to its owner's hand. Equip 2. I don't know, man. I mean, this card's okay, but okay cards are trash, aren't they? Let's be honest, okay cards suck. The weapon is honestly better than the god side. Maybe. Alright, Mag, that thing sucks. This thing's kinda weird. 3 mana, 2/3. As Realmwalker. As Realmwalker enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast creature spells of the chosen type from the top of your library. Temur Giants? I mean, it's just a shit snoop, innit? I don't know. It's probably okay, but it's also probably trash. It's so slow and greedy. Toski, Bearer of Secrets. 4 mana, 1/1, can't be countered. Indestructible, Squirrel. Attacks each combat if able. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So, what if this thing is just nuts? It is a beautiful sideboard card, isn't it? Against Gandalf. 4 mana, 1/1. Well, mate, you're not bringing it in against Gruul, are you? Think about the matchups it's for.
This is great banter. It really
I don't like Question Beast, because Question Beast is just 4 mana, deal 4 damage. It's shit. This is drown your Gandalf opponent and win the game. Maybe. Squirrel is nuts. What a pun. I wish it was intentional, man. I really wish it was intentional. That would be some good banter. Sadly, unintentional. Invasion of the Giants. You see, like, so all the good giants are red and black. All the good giants matter cards are blue. So you gotta play Izzet or Grixis, right? Maybe Teamer. But to play Teamer, you've got to play Historic so you can get your Uro. I don't think Giants will be a Historic deck, but maybe a Grixis Giants in Standard could be okay. But I mean, this card's kind of gas too. Scry 2, draw a card, reveal a giant, deal 2. Next turn, play a giant for cheap lord. 1 mana Bone Crusher. Like, if you cast a giant, this thing just pays for itself, right? And it's just a free scry 2, deal 2 over 2 turns. Over 3 turns, I guess. While also putting a permanent into your graveyard eventually to escape your CROKEYZ with. Tasty. No Grixis Triome, though. That's kind of a problem. And draw a card, yeah. Scry 2, draw a card, deal 2 for free over 3 turns. It's slow, but I mean your whole giant deck's going to be slow. It's not as if you have an alternative to this card and you're going to play a giant on turn 2 instead. There is no 2 mana giants, so you need some cards that cost 2 mana. Build around Bone Crusher? Well, I think you would, or I guess you have CROKEYZ, right? I think you build around CROKEYZ and Bone Crusher. And then you just play some Giants Matter cards, play some blue counters, play some black removals, and you're chilling, right? Seems good to me. This card is very decent, man. Kyle, seen her a million times. Sarulf Realm Eater. 3 mana 3/3, legendary. Whenever a permanent opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a counter on Sarulf. At the beginning of your upkeep, if it has 1 or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may remove all of them. If you do, exile each other non-land permanent with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of counters removed this way. I don't know, man. I think this thing's a scam. But, could be wrong. But I think this card is a scam. It just doesn't do anything, does it? So, if you play this, and then you use other cards from your hand to remove your opponent's permanents, and then that puts counters on this guy. And then, you remove those counters to remove nothing that's in play because you've used your other cards to remove things. Like, you have to remove things to set it up, and then once it's set up, they don't have anything for you to remove, so you can't remove it. 3 mana 3/3 is still good. No, it's not, man. What fucking planet are you living in? This is not 1917 anymore. A 3 mana 3/3 is absolutely not good. We have 3 mana 5/5s with upside. What do you mean a 3 mana 3/3 is good? I think this card is a scam. Don't at me. Pathway, pirate, that thing sucks. Okay, this card is really good too. 4 mana, Escape to the Wilds. Escape the top 4 cards, exile the top 4 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Whenever you cast a spell this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. I mean, this is just an absolutely insane top-end card for an aggro deck. Like, utterly nuts. For like a Boros, I don't know. You can't really play it in a Winota deck though, which is sad. Because to play Winota, you need to have Winota, 4 slots, 4 drop, and the Baji's Lieutenant, right? You don't really have space for this anymore. So you just play it maybe in like a Nahiri Warriors deck or something. I don't know. At least in the aggro decks, like it's the Boros normals aggro deck, Bone Crusher Giant, Hallowed Blade or whatever. That deck has no 1-drops yet though. So your top end would just be this and Cleave, I guess, and then you just play a bunch of plebs. Okay, I mean they have Dog, but Dog's kind of whatever. Naya Adventures? Maybe, man. Doesn't sound so bad, huh? Naya Adventures. Giant Killer, Eddie, Lovestruck Beast token. Yikes. Can you cycle the exiled cards? I don't think so, man. You can't cycle in... You can't cycle with Escape to the Wilds, right? So I don't see why this would be any different. This card is gas, though. Like, ultra gas. Yorion? I don't know, man. It's not really a Yorion card, is it? I mean, you can play it in a Yorion deck, sure. But Jeskai is not a Yorion deck, is what I'm trying to say. This card will be more impactful in an aggro deck. Most likely. It's your henge, innit? It's your Boros henge. These are the type of cards that you need in aggro decks these days for them to be good. They all have cards like this. They either have henge or Into the Story or you know. And you can also play Cleave in this deck, right? This is an aggro card. That's Kaya again. Nico. See, I think this thing's really good. Double blue, white, 3 mana planeswalker. If you cast it for more, sure, it's fine. It scales. This thing is really, really strong. The plus incentivizes you to play some dumbass Yorion deck though in it, which is a bit boring, but the minus needing your opponent's creature to be tapped is a bit annoying. Yeah, the shard is it's an enchantment token, and it's 2 mana to crack it, and you scry 1, draw a card. So the shard is basically an enchantment with a 2 mana opt. I think this card's really good. But that already sounds so slow. Do not underestimate cards like that. Do you not remember when we underestimated food tokens? Food tokens are honestly better than shards, but still. Yeah, Nico's good. Don't at me. Pathway. It's the sword guy, Magda, Squirrel, Wolfman. Surtland Flinger. Whenever Circling Flinger attacks, you may sack another creature. When you do, deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. If the sacked creature was a giant, deals twice that much damage instead. Just trash, sadly. Cleaving Reaper. 5 mana, 5/3 flying trample. Pay 3 life, return it from graveyard to hand. Activate this ability only if you had an angel or berserker enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Meh. Just another Grind Lord card in it. Every deck's already filled with cards like that anyway. Valkyrie Harbinger. 6 mana, 4/5 flying lifelink. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained 4 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Canopy Tactician. Elf Lord. Add 3. Meh. 4 mana, by the way. Vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn. Choose a dwarf you control. Attach any number of equipment you control to it. What? War Chanter Scald. Aren't vehicles... I don't know. Not bad, right? So you have to play a vehicle, dwarf... Vehicle and dwarf and equipment deck. How are you going to do that? Whenever a War Chanter Scald becomes tapped, if it's enchanted or equipped, create a 2/1 token. Youthful Valkyrie. 1/3 flyer for 2. Whenever an angel enters the battlefield, put a counter on Valkyrie. Hey man, it's a cheap angel. A card doesn't suck. Mostly because it is a card that fills out the problem curve for the deck that it would go in if that deck existed, which would be Angel Tribal, right? Angel Tribal has a big problem in that the only card that it has on turn 2 right now is the 1/4, right? Whatever that, I can't remember what it's called though. So that's a second 2-drop for that deck, which is very cool. I mean, the deck probably still sucks, but if it doesn't, you'll definitely be playing this thing. Absorb Identity. Return creature to its owner's hand. You may have shapeshifters you control become copies of that creature until end of turn. Shapeshifter Tribal? What? So this is an unsummon, right? So you're paying 1 mana to have your shapeshifters become copies of that bounced creature until end of turn. Is that good for 1 mana? I mean, it depends what your shapeshifters are, doesn't it? I don't know. This could be decent, man. It depends. It depends if your shapeshifters cost, like, if they cost 1 mana, then this thing's obviously sick in that deck, right? But shapeshifters are normally like 2 and 3, aren't they? In which case this is very unlikely to be good. Interesting card though. Not as terrible as you would think, I don't think. First, Enchant Giant. When Giant's Grasp enters the battlefield, gain control of target non-land permanent for as long as Giant's Grasp remains on the battlefield. Any hexproof giants? Behave and you'll be a fine pet. Bite me and your ammunition. Crystalline Giant. The Crystalline Giant, roll hexproof, equip it with this. GG, go next. Go next. Interesting card. Again, it depends how good giants are, right? So giants are going to be what? They're going to be blue-red with maybe green or maybe black or maybe just as it. Elderfang Ritualist, Elf Cleric. When it dies, return target elf card from graveyard to hand. Fuck off. Renegade Reaper, Angel. When it enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. If at least one angel card is milled this way, gain 4 life. Thornmantle Striker, Elf Rogue. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1, remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the number of elves you control. Target creature your opponent controls gets -X until the end of turn, where X is the number of elves you control. Nope. Bearded Axe. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each Dwarf equipment and... Wow, so they're actually trying to push Dwarf equipment vehicle deck. What? It's so random, isn't it? Alright, this card is absolute gasted. Have any of you seen this card? This card... Whew! Now we're talking with our giant tribal. Fire Giant's Fury. 2 mana sorcery. Target giant you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample. Trample, very useful on giant creatures. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player this turn, exile that many cards from the top of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Put this on your Bone Daddy. Cool. Put this on your CROKEYZ. Cool. Put it on your Shapeshifter. Yeah. But I don't think you can play Shapeshifters in the Giant deck because of this thing, right? The next Giant spell you cast this turn costs 2 less to cast. So this thing doesn't make your Shapeshifters cheaper, which is a massive sag. Maybe you have to play some Shapeshifters to fill out the deck, especially if they're good. Like this one, for example. But you hate to see this not make your Shapeshifter cheaper, huh? How does it work? Are they giants in your hand? Okay. I mean, you have the start of a deck, right? You've got this boy. Got this. CROKEYZ, Bone Crusher. Maybe giants are the nuts. Reevaluating? Well, I mean that's really helpful for the giant tribal, isn't it? If you can play changelings. But is every shapeshifter a changeling? That's my question. I don't think they are, right? Some shapeshifters are not changelings. Rampage of the Valkyries. 5 mana enchantment. When it ends the battlefield, create a 4/4 white angel token with flying and vigilance. Whenever an angel you control dies, each other player sacks a creature. Wow. I mean, that will win some games. Utter trash. I mean, you can't play it in your main deck, but that is a solid sideboard card for a creature matchup with your angel deck. That is a solid sideboard card. 5 mana 4/4 with just super good effect. Orzhov Angels. I would play this in my sideboard for sure, man. Another changeling, 3/3 for 3. Whenever another creature named Glade, Walker, Ritualist enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Okay, fuck that. Create a elf token for each elf you control, 4 mana. Gilded Assault Cart. 3 mana, 5/1 artifact. Trample. Crew 2. Sack 2 treasures. Return Assault Cart from graveyard to hand. Okay guys, I've not got massive hope for the Dwarf vehicle artifact deck. This guy is super decent, man. It's also slow as fuck though, innit? So Nico I think will just like slot into some dumbass Yorion pile, right? Like a creature Yorion, so Skyclave Apparitions and Charming Princes, Boomer Simulacrums, you know, that nonsense. Yorion equals disgusting. True. Big true. You could maybe play like an Esper Yorion Flicker deck with Kaya and Nico. Put a ghost form counter on up to 1 target non-token creature. It gains when this creature dies or is put into exile, return it to its owner's hand and create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. So that would be a decent way to make use of the +1. Or you can just play Kaya in like as a top end of some mid-range shit, I guess. But mid-range shit should probably be Yorion piles, shouldn't it? Esper pile. Sod Yorion? Well, Yorion's too strong, man. That's why every deck is fucking Yorion, isn't it? Wait, where is Tybalt? Tybalt's not here. It was all a lie. Binding the Old Gods. Vorinclex. Dude, this Frostbite should be able to go face, man. It's so tilting that it can't. 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control 3 or more snow permanents, 3 damage instead. So dumb, man. There's a Dwarf. Called the Forge Master. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, if it was enchanted or equipped, return it to its owner's hand. Creature tokens you control that are enchanted or equipped get +1/+1. Creature tokens you control. When Valki enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. X, choose a creature card exiled with Valki with converted mana cost X. Valki becomes a copy of that card. Or you can play a Planeswalker for 7 mana. Valki, steal their Uro, pay 3, swing with an Uro. Seems okay, right? Or steal their Kroxa, pay 2, turn into a Kroxa, start pounding them. I mean, this thing seems absolutely gas to me. The Planeswalker side is a bit bad, but I guess it's just there for, it's there for as a late game option, right? This card's sick, guys. Don't know what to tell you. If Valki becomes Kroxa and sacks itself, do the opponent get Kroxa back? But it doesn't sack itself though. You just get to attack with a 6/6 man. It's like Lazav, innit? So this is basically a discard spell on a 2/1 that is also not dead in the late game if they've got no hand. You can just play a bad planeswalker instead, which is fine. This shit is nuts. It's a legendary, which is really annoying because you're going to want to play 4 of these, man. Easy 4 of. Tybalt's pretty good. Well, it's not worth 7 mana, but it will be worth paying 7 mana for it in the stage of a real Magic game where you would be using this though. Because you're using it if you don't think you can get your Valki any value, right? And if that's the case, then sure, a big dumbass 7 mana planeswalker is fine because your opponent ain't going to remove it. Wait, so I guess you can. Wait, can you? Can you play another? No, you can't. You can't play another Val. You can't like play Valki, steal a Kroxa, change into Kroxa, and then play another Valki into play. It wouldn't work. Valki becomes a copy of that card. You can? But you can't do that with Lazav though. And isn't it just essentially the same text? Except its name is Lazav. Oh, okay. So you can do that, huh? That is interesting. Alright, well then, it was going to be a 4 of anyway, but now that's a little bit better, right? This guy's a juicer, man. He is a juicer. Now it's 5 of. I mean, this guy is insane, right? He's absolutely insane. It's either a 2 mana 2/1, discard a creature, or discard a creature from the opponent's hand, play it for 2 more mana than it would cost them, and pay that over 2 turns. This guy is crazy. And that's before you even consider the fact that it's just never dead because you can cast Tibalt instead if you need to, or if it's better. Crazy. Crazy card. Do you know what else is crazy, guys? Sigrid God Favored. 3 mana 2/2 flash first strike, protection from god creatures. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target attacking or blocking creature until Sigrid leaves the battlefield. This shit is insane. Flash apparition with first strike on creatures. The blue-white walker? Yeah, the blue-white walker is good, I think. Mad strong. I guess
Welcome
they
back,
had to
Mr.
add to the
Streamer.
attacking or blocking creature. Otherwise, you could just put this in a Winota deck, right? You can't really play this in Winota, sadly. Or else you could just attack, get some Winota triggers, pull a Sigrid out, and just exile their blocker. Nice. But if you play this in Winota deck, it'll come out before they declare blockers, huh?